Do you guys want to hear the craziest DM I've ever gotten? Hi, my name is Maddie Maymoto. I'm a Bible scholar specializing in gender and sexuality, and sometimes my Facebook friends have strong opinions about that. So today I'm feeling particularly messy, and I thought that I would read to you one of the craziest DMs I have ever gotten. For context, this DM is from someone that I grew up with. We were both in the same youth group, but she's significantly older than me, so we've never had a one-on-one conversation. Apparently, she really cares about my online presence. Here's her message. Hey, Maddie. I wrote this back to you in June when I saw your Facebook post, the Facebook post where I came out as bisexual. For whatever reason, it's only felt right to send it to you now, months after that post. I realize that we don't know each other well, and when I reached out to you several years ago, it never sparked conversation, but I've observed you and your family from afar for a long time, and there are some things I want to commend. And in regards to your recent post, some things I want to address. You may not be interested in my opinions or observations, but because you invited conversation in your post, I feel I can write you this letter. After all, the whole correspondence of this early church was via letters. Letters of encouragement as well as admonishment. I imagine, just based on how I knew you and your family in our youth, that you and Ryan did not sleep together before you were married. If that's true, that's wonderful. Ryan is my partner, by the way. However hard or easy that was, it is so important. I would be quick to remind or point out that maintaining purity before marriage is actually practice / training for maintaining purity within marriage. The race or battle or good fight, if you will, is not resisting temptation for a time, but diligently trapping, removing, and alertly preparing for any little fox that comes into your garden to destroy and wreck your vineyard. Song of Solomon 2:15. As Christians, we believe and preach that marriage is a representation of Christ's relationship with the church, which means that your marriage is one of the greatest witnesses you have in your life. You can show people how Christ loves his bride. Many times in Scripture, the church is referred to as an adulteress, never a positive thing. And even being a friend of the world is showing hatred towards God. James 4:4. Scripture never commends desires of the heart that don't include God. While you may have desires in your life that you don't understand, if there are sexual desires of any kind that don't include your husband, you should not be boasting about it or condoning it. You should be really hesitant to even dwell on or speak of. Even if you were totally confident in your heterosexual desires, you wouldn't want to speak about or post online that you had desires for men other than your husband, even if it were true. Another area of your life that I admire is your parents' relationship. They really seem in love and devoted to one another. It's moving. If your dad was to post that he loves being married to your mom, but sometimes thinks about or longs for some of his female students, he's a professor, it would seem incredibly insulting to your mom and their relationship. Even if it were true, it's not something that he or your mom should be advocating, supporting, or publicly praising. That would be a little fox if I ever saw one. Personally, I don't think sexual desires define a person or grant them identity. I think a man and a wife can defend their purity together with God's help despite whatever attack the enemy throws at them for their entire lives. God honors companionship. He honors purity, and he honors marriage between a man and a woman. He will be with you and an ever-present help in need. A third area of your life that I find encouraging and inspiring is your relationship with your father. What an incredible gift to have a mentor and a friend and teacher who loves you as his daughter. He is to you a protector and provider and counselor and defender. While your mother can also be these things to you, there are specific qualities about fatherhood that are innate and unique. While a father could be nurturing or comforting as a mother, a father has God-given roles that are precious and particular. If you were to start referring to your dad as mom, it would not only be confusing, but it would actually be insulting to his role in your life as father. It would also demean your mother of her roles, misappropriating a different, intimate relationship in your life. God is only ever described as father, and is always referred to in the masculine tense. While God is the creator of both masculinity and femininity, and both man and woman are made in his image, his identity is that of a father. One of Jesus' main missions is to show us how to relate to God as a father. It's not the first time in history that God is referred to in this way, but Jesus' message of God as Father is the most powerful message ever to mankind. The love of the Father is the heart of the gospel. Our lives are witnesses to the world, as you know, whether we post about them or not. We must choose higher righteousness in all areas of life. I hope that you can read this letter with an open mind and a softened heart. With love, and in his name, Anna, because I'm feeling messy. Her name is Anna. And since I'm the sassy bitch that I am, this is my response. Hi, Anna. It is very bold of you to compare your Facebook message to an apostolic letter in the early church. But since we're drawing that comparison, I think some important information you're missing out about those letters is that the author was always personally invested in the church they were addressing. They knew each other. They did life with each other. They hosted each other. There were some widely circulated letters, sure, but the initial addressee was always a church that had a personal relationship to the author. That is not the case between us. Just for one example, your assumption that my husband and I waited for marriage is wrong. And I don't think that's a sin either, actually. Song of Solomon is widely agreed to be a poetic fiction, descriptive, not prescriptive. But that's beside the point, which is to point out to you that you don't know me, and I don't know you. My post was only initiating conversations over coffee or Zoom, not letters of admonishment from people I haven't spoken to in over a decade. The spirit of your letter is not inviting me to conversation. There is not a hint of curiosity or charity. Here's what I have the time and energy to say. Because, let's be honest, if you really were interested in my point of view, you could Google a book and read it. Your letter quotes 2 Bible verses. The rest of it is full of assumptions about me, my sex life, and my family dynamics based on our social media presence. Coming out as bisexual does not mean I experience sexual desires that don't include my husband. My post does not indicate anything of the sort. If you cared about me and my story enough to ask, I would give you more information on how I came to the conclusion that I was bisexual. And I would have told you, but that's none of your business. The fact that you would compare my experience to a perverted, pedophilic example of my father longing for his students is disgusting and inappropriate. Finally, God is described as a mother and maternal throughout Scripture, but that's something else you could easily Google. I am getting my PhD in biblical studies at one of the top universities in the world. I have informed opinions about Scripture. If your letter wanted to talk more about why I've come to these conclusions, rather than making wild assumptions about my sex life, then this conversation could have been fruitful and even productive. But that's not the spirit of your letter, so I don't invite response. And I don't invite any more assumptions about my family. I hope sending this message months after the fact made you feel better about whatever is going on in your little life. Then I blocked her as soon as I waited to make sure that she had read it, and then I blocked her immediately. I hope she's watching.